The water's squirting up from the bottom. You'll see it in the back corner.
Oh, yeah. Do we know if it's fresh or salt?
Don't know.
Imagine discovering a secret so dangerous that for more than 2 centuries, every attempt to uncover it ended in disaster. Explosions, floods, cave-ins, missing evidence, and strange symbols buried beneath one small island. For years, people believed Oak Island was just another treasure hunt filled with pirate legends and lost gold. But Season 13 changed everything. Hidden patterns began to appear. Clues that once seemed unrelated suddenly connected perfectly. Ancient symbols, underground structures, and unexplained discoveries started pointing towards something far bigger than treasure. What if Oak Island was never built to hide riches? What if it was designed to hide the truth itself? A truth so disturbing that it had to be buried, sealed, and forgotten forever. And here's the frightening part. Some of the evidence uncovered in Season 13 was never fully explained on camera. Certain discoveries were cut short, conversations ended abruptly, and leaked details began raising questions the show never answered. Questions that make this mystery feel less like history and more like a warning left behind for the future. Stay with me until the very end, because the final piece of evidence changes everything we thought we knew about Oak Island. If you enjoy deep mysteries, hidden history, and secrets the world was never supposed to uncover, subscribe now and stay curious, because the truth is only beginning to surface. Let's begin. Before Season 13 even officially began, a major question was already starting to form behind the scenes. Was the team working with hidden information long before the cameras started rolling? At first glance, the excavation looked normal to most viewers. But when people later revisited the footage, several details began to feel unusual. The team suddenly focused on locations that had previously received very little attention. The equipment being used appeared more advanced, and the digging process looked far more controlled and calculated than in earlier seasons. Normally, Oak Island investigations follow a simple pattern. Drill a location, study the results, then decide the next step. But Season 13 felt different. Important decisions were made unusually fast, often without detailed on-camera discussions. In some areas, drilling operations stopped almost immediately, even when there seemed to be enough reason to continue searching. That raised an uncomfortable question. How did they already know which places were worth pursuing and which ones were not? According to several insiders, the team may have already possessed private scan reports before the season began. These reports were never fully revealed to the audience. Supposedly, the scans showed strange underground readings at very specific depths, allowing the team to prepare their strategy in advance. If that's true, it could explain why many of their actions seemed so confident and deliberate throughout the season. Even the atmosphere around the team appeared different. In earlier seasons, there was excitement, optimism, and constant speculation. But this time, their behavior felt more serious, almost cautious. It looked as though they believed something important truly existed underground, and every move had to be handled carefully before exposing it. That is why many viewers now believe the real planning for Season 13 happened long before filming ever started. But where did these leaked claims actually come from? Interestingly, the story didn't begin with random internet rumors or anonymous social media posts. Instead, pieces of information slowly surfaced through conversations involving former crew members and industry insiders. Over time, more details started emerging about underground scans and confidential documents allegedly connected to Season 13. What makes these leaks stand out is the level of detail behind them. Most rumors are vague and dramatic, usually claiming things like something huge was discovered or a secret is being hidden. But these reports were different. They included specific references to scan depths, density measurements, and underground patterns. Even more surprising, some of those details seemed to match footage already shown in the series, making the claims feel far more believable. The timing also added fuel to the mystery. These leaks began spreading exactly when viewers had already started questioning several strange moments from Season 13. Abrupt scene changes, unfinished conversations, and oddly edited sequences suddenly looked suspicious. For many people, the leaked information felt like the missing puzzle piece that finally connected everything together. Now, the mystery surrounding Oak Island is being viewed from a completely different perspective. People are no longer focused only on what was found. Instead, they're asking a far bigger question. What discoveries were intentionally left out? And if these leaked reports are even partially true, then perhaps the real Oak Island mystery has only just begun. According to the leaked scan data, the unusual underground structure was located somewhere between 90 and 110 feet below the surface. These weren't random guesses. The numbers supposedly came directly from scan readings collected during the investigation. At that depth, the machines reportedly detected a sudden shift in the underground composition, almost as if the material below was completely different from the surrounding Earth. That immediately caught attention, because readings like this are extremely rare during ordinary excavations. Even more interesting, this exact depth range has long been connected to the legendary money pit theory. For generations, researchers believed the true secret of Oak Island was never near the surface, but buried far deeper underground. In fact, many older drilling attempts throughout history also encountered strange resistance around this same depth, as though something solid was blocking further progress. During Season 13, the team suddenly became heavily focused on this area. In certain spots, they drilled deeper than expected, while in other locations, work stopped without explanation. Once again, viewers were left wondering how the team seemed so certain about where to continue and where to walk away. If the leaked information is accurate, then the 90 to 110-foot zone may represent far more than a simple depth marker. Some experts believe it points toward clear signs of human-made construction hidden underground. That possibility has led many to suspect that something was intentionally buried deep below the island to prevent easy access. But perhaps the most important part of the leaked data involves the density readings. According to the reports, the scanned area showed density levels nearly twice as high as normal surrounding soil. In simple terms, the ground beneath that section appeared significantly heavier and more compact than it should have been naturally. That detail is extremely important because normal soil and rock formations usually produce inconsistent readings. But in this case, the scans repeatedly showed the same strong density pattern across multiple tests. Specialists say readings like these are often associated with underground structures built from materials such as wood, stone, or even metal. If the area contained only loose earth, the signals would likely vary from one section to another. Instead, the machines detected almost identical results again and again, and that consistency is what makes the discovery so unsettling. It suggests that whatever exists underground may have a defined shape, structure, and solid form, rather than being a random natural formation. This is why many researchers have started considering the possibility of an ancient chamber, vault, or intentionally built construction hidden beneath Oak Island. The more these readings appeared, the harder it became for people to dismiss them as coincidence. Slowly, uncertainty began turning into belief. Maybe something truly is still buried beneath the island, hidden from the modern world for centuries. At first, many people assumed the strange scan readings were simply technical errors. But according to leaked details, the investigation did not stop after a single test. In reality, 4 separate scans were reportedly conducted at the same location. They were performed on different days, under changing weather conditions, and even with different equipment. Yet every single scan produced nearly the same underground pattern. That level of consistency is highly unusual during standard excavation work. Normally, underground readings change constantly from one area to another. One section may contain soft soil, while another contains dense rock formations. But here, the same depth, the same density, and the same unusual pattern kept appearing repeatedly. The same underground shape kept showing up in every single scan. And that didn't just surprise viewers watching at home. Even experts involved in analyzing the data were reportedly stunned. In science, when the same result appears repeatedly under different conditions, it carries weight. This process is known as repeated verification. It means the readings are no longer being treated as random errors, but as evidence of something real beneath the surface. That is exactly why the Oak Island investigation suddenly entered a completely new phase. If the scans were simply glitches, at least one test would likely have produced a different result. But instead, all 4 scans pointed toward the same fixed formation underground. Because of that, the mystery is no longer about whether something exists below the island. The real question now is far more unsettling. What exactly is hidden there? And according to the leaked measurements, whatever was detected is massive. Reports suggest the underground structure could be somewhere between 20 and 25 feet wide. To put that into perspective, that's larger than many vehicles and roughly the size of a small room. This immediately rules out the idea of a simple treasure chest or small storage box. Historically, most hidden caches were compact and only a few feet across. But this discovery points towards something much larger, possibly an entire chamber buried deep underground. What makes the scans even stranger is that the structure doesn't appear random. The patterns suggest multiple reinforced layers surrounding it, almost as though it was intentionally protected. Experts often associate designs like this with places built to secure something extremely valuable or dangerous. Because of that, many people no longer see Oak Island as a standard treasure hunt. If this truly is some kind of hidden vault, it could contain far more than gold. Some believe it may hold ancient artifacts, religious objects, or historical records that were deliberately concealed centuries ago. And that possibility changes the mystery completely. So if a vault really exists beneath Oak Island, what could actually be inside? The obvious answer is treasure. Gold and silver are the first things most people imagine, and for good reason. Throughout history, hidden chambers were often used to store precious metals and protect wealth during times of war or political chaos. But Oak Island may be different. Some historians argue that if the purpose was only to hide gold, there would have been no need to create such a deep and heavily protected system. The level of engineering involved suggests something much more important may have been buried there. Not just valuable, but sensitive. That idea is exactly why theories involving ancient documents and religious artifacts continue to grow stronger. According to some researchers, the chamber could contain writings, maps, or symbols that powerful groups wanted hidden from the world, objects capable of changing how certain parts of history are understood today. If discoveries like that were ever uncovered, their importance would go far beyond money. That's why some experts have started describing the site not as a treasure vault, but as a knowledge vault, a place where wealth and dangerous information may have been hidden together. Information that, in the wrong hands, could threaten power structures, religious beliefs, or historical narratives. And that possibility makes the entire Oak Island mystery feel much darker than before. Then comes another huge question. How did experts arrive at the estimate of $150 to $300 million? Surprisingly, that number wasn't invented randomly. Researchers based the estimate on the possible size of the chamber, historical treasure comparisons, and current market values for gold and silver. Even a relatively small amount of pure gold stored inside a vault this size could already be worth hundreds of millions today. But the estimate becomes far more complicated if rare artifacts or historical relics are involved. Ancient manuscripts, religious objects, or one-of-a-kind historical items often become priceless because they cannot be replaced. In auctions, artifacts like these sometimes sell for amounts far beyond their material value simply because of their historical importance. That is why many analysts believe the $150 to $300 million estimate may actually be conservative. If the chamber truly exists and contains rare historical material, its real value could be far greater than anyone expects. And suddenly, Oak Island stops feeling like just a television mystery. It starts looking like one of the greatest hidden discoveries of the modern era. At the same time, Season 13 itself has started raising even more questions. When people closely rewatch the episodes, several scenes feel strangely incomplete. Important conversations seem to end abruptly. Just as a major revelation appears about to happen, the camera suddenly cuts away to something else. To casual viewers, it may look like normal editing, but longtime followers of Oak Island immediately noticed the difference. This becomes especially obvious during some of the team meetings. Serious discussions begin, tension builds, and then suddenly the scene ends without resolution. No explanation, no conclusion. The story simply moves on. Because this happened repeatedly throughout the season, many viewers began wondering whether certain details were intentionally removed from the final edit. Even the behavior of Rick and the rest of the team appeared different compared to earlier seasons. In the past, their reactions were filled with excitement and curiosity, but in Season 13, many moments felt more controlled and tense. Rick's expressions often appeared unusually serious, almost as though he was thinking about something he could not openly discuss, and people noticed it. In several scenes, team members also seemed careful with their wording, speaking in a restrained way as if they understood that some topics should not be fully discussed on camera. These small details may seem insignificant alone, but together they create a strange feeling that viewers cannot ignore. It raises an uncomfortable possibility. Did Season 13 truly show everything that happened on Oak Island, or only the parts considered safe for television? At this point, many people believe the idea of hidden information can no longer be dismissed. After all, Oak Island is not only an excavation project, it is also a massive television production. And television follows its own rules. Suspense must be controlled, mysteries must be stretched out, and information is carefully managed for dramatic effect. What actually happens during a real excavation may be very different from what audiences eventually see on screen, and sometimes certain discoveries may simply be too sensitive to reveal publicly. There's another reason many people believe Season 13 may have hidden important details. In major discoveries, information is not always released immediately. If an excavation uncovers something historically important or legally sensitive, networks and production teams often become extremely careful about what they show to the public. And security plays a huge role in that decision. If something truly valuable or controversial was discovered beneath Oak Island, revealing it too early could create massive problems almost overnight. Theft risks, ownership battles, legal investigations, and even government involvement could quickly follow. In situations like these, controlling information becomes necessary rather than optional. That's why many viewers now suspect the audience may have seen only part of the real story during Season 13. Some discoveries may still be hidden behind closed doors, waiting for the right moment to be revealed publicly. And that possibility changes everything, because if certain details were intentionally withheld, then the real Oak Island mystery may still exist far away from television cameras and public discussion. The possibility of government or legal involvement also cannot be ignored. Once an excavation crosses the line from simple treasure hunting into historical significance, authorities often step in. If a discovery is connected to an ancient civilization, a religious order, or an important historical event, it stops being just a private excavation. At that point, legal agencies and historical organizations usually decide how the site is handled and what information can safely be released. In many countries, anything historically significant found underground is automatically treated as protected heritage. And if researchers uncover documents, structures, or artifacts capable of changing accepted history, excavations can be paused immediately for official study and preservation. History has shown this many times before. Some archaeological projects have suddenly disappeared from public attention for months or even years, while governments reviewed findings behind the scenes. Because of this, many people believe something similar could be happening with Oak Island. If a major discovery really occurred during Season 13, the team may have been legally restricted from speaking openly about it while investigations or approvals were taking place. Showing too much too soon on television could potentially create serious legal complications. And when people look back at the season, certain details begin to feel even more suspicious. The team's cautious language, abrupt topic changes, and incomplete conversations suddenly appear less accidental and more controlled. That's why theories about hidden information continue growing stronger. Throughout history, major discoveries have often triggered immediate government attention. Documentation, analysis, security reviews, and legal procedures can take a very long time. If something historically important was truly found beneath Oak Island, it's possible the public simply wasn't allowed to see everything yet. Maybe that's why so many questions still remain unanswered. But the biggest question of all is this: what happens if the vault is finally opened? If Oak Island truly contains a hidden chamber and it is eventually uncovered, the impact could spread far beyond one island or one television series. It could completely change the way certain parts of history are understood. Imagine if ancient records, symbols, or artifacts connected to forgotten groups were discovered inside. Historians might be forced to rethink long-accepted narratives about the past. Entire theories could suddenly collapse or be rewritten, and the consequences might not stop there. Some researchers believe the discovery could even create religious controversy. If hidden relics or ancient writings connected to powerful belief systems were uncovered, they could challenge traditions that have existed for centuries. History has repeatedly shown that major discoveries often force it may be forced to question everything it thought it knew about the past.